Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnana Murtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Triguna-rahitam Sadgurum Tam Namam. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha in Nirvana Prakarana Purvārdha, section 35 continues, where Lord Shiva imparting wisdom to Sage Vasistha. And the topic is very advanced topic, the goal of your life. And the goal of your life is the realization of who am I? The revelation of the I am. And once the I am is revealed, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. One who knows Brahman becomes Brahman. He who has realized pure consciousness, the greatest of all gods, is truly adorable. And what is being also highlighted is that the greatest form of worship is entertaining that vichar that culminates in the revelation, Aham Brahmasmi, or Prajnanam Brahma. Brahman is pure awareness. Remember the four great utterances of the Vedas. Prajnanam Brahma, that's the first stage. It's not a stage, these are four ways of describing it. Pure consciousness is Brahman. And this is presented by Guru to the disciple as Mahavakya, Tattvam Asi, thou art that. And disciple listening to it practices Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. And in the end, I am Atma Brahman. The revelation, this self is Brahman. He who has realized pure consciousness, the greatest of all gods, is truly adorable. You have to understand. He who has realized is no longer a personality. So, but coming from a practical point of view, when you meet saints and sages, and you have a deeper relation of guru-disciple, the guru is to be viewed as Brahman, the absolute. And that Brahman is absolutely adorable. He becomes the soul of all souls, the sustainer and illuminer of all. Why is the sage adorable? Because he has no longer his own ego personality. He has shed that illusion of egoism. And therefore, his personality has become a symbol of spiritual goal. Being all pervasive, this great God does not need to be invoked to understand how things are difficult in the world of atmospheric pressure. You jump out of your upper story and you will be finished. But if you are in a spacecraft, beyond the atmospheric pull, you jump out of it and will play. You will dance in space. I'm joking, but at the same time, the way to convey what seems so real in one situation becomes completely childish in advanced stage. So, it's perfectly real and commendable and required that when you start your worship, you invoke God's presence first in your very picture of your deity. Next, depending upon again how spiritually advanced you are, you invoke God in the lotus of your own heart. And so there is constant invoking. If you are highly advanced, you don't have to invoke. You are poked into God. You can't exist without Him. Every function of your personality, every function of your chitta vrittis, thought waves, who is behind it? You have to invoke that. It's already there. Ever-present reality. So God doesn't need to be invoked. Where is He not? But this understanding is the greatest invocation. This being and one who is enlightened, his identity is God identity, Brahman identity. No longer is a human relative identity. So on one side you are being given the knowledge of Brahman. On the other side, that every sage is Brahman. Third side, all is Brahman. Being self-effulgent, he doesn't need the lamp of mantras for his revelation. Using mantra for attaining God realization in early stage is perfectly normal, rather required, and it plays a tremendous role. In advanced stage, the very mantra that you are pronouncing, the source of inspiration behind your tongue, the activity of your mind, all these are result of God's presence within your personality. So you don't need a mantra, a lamp of mantra, to discover where God is. From advanced point of view, sadhana becomes a kind of ridiculous movement. It's not to discourage you from your sadhana. Just like a person under rush for catching a plane in the night, he begins to collect all the materials needed for his trip, putting the ducks together. And suddenly he forgot, where is his flashlight? And flashlight is in his third hand. He looks everywhere. And becomes more and more excited. Oh, my flashlight, where have you gone? And every act you do and everywhere you look is as a result of your own flashlight, your own hand. That's the part played by your own consciousness. That awareness that I don't have the flashlight. See, but the awareness is the one that is revealing you, that's creating that illusion. That awareness is ever shining light, self-effulgent. It does not need the lamp of mantras. All sadhana disciplines, in other words, are transcended. But until they are transcended, they are all needed. In the highest form of worship, consisting of the awareness of identity with the Supreme Self, there is no need for mantras, invocations, or other forms of worship. Therefore, in affirmation practice, mano buddhi ahamkara chittani naham, I am neither the mind, nor the intellect, nor the ego. I am pure, absolute Shiva. And in that state, there is neither guru, nor disciple, nor scriptures, nor mantras, nor malas, all transcended. That Brahman am I. So even while doing your regular sadhana and using mantras and all that, allow a little space to create an affirmation. And this process is just like going into deep sleep. Deep sleep movement is a minus aspect, minus samadhi is deep sleep. Positive counterpart of sleep is samadhi. But just like in sleep, you need everything in order to sleep. Your good bed, your pillows, your blanket, all those things. In perfect precision, you need them. But once you are in sleep, nothing exists. You don't need them at all. Having worshipped the Supreme God with this transcendental form of worship, so the real worship is how to get into that nirvikalpa state of profound silence. So having worshipped the Supreme God with this transcendental form of worship, through the knowledge of an identity with the Supreme, one brings about the creation, rather cessation of the world process. His karmas are burnt up like roasted seeds in the fire of knowledge. Once that revelation has become firm, no longer you will be controlled by karmas. Now, therefore, allegorically speaking, seeds of karmas have become burnt up. He who confers fearlessness, who is the source of all beings, and who is unborn and the most adorable, these become, in one aspect, they become the characteristics of your enlightenment. The attributes you you discover in Brahman, those attributes must express through your personality. If you are absolutely fearless, you should not cause fear in the heart of others. If you have absolutely no anger or hate, you should become a source of harmony and peace. So all these divine attributes that emanate from Brahman, they emanate through saintly personality. They can emanate from any person as a person begins to advance, because all persons in essence are nothing but Brahman. So he confers fearlessness, abhay. Be abhay, absolutely fearless, and radiate fearlessness. He is your very self. You are indeed Brahman. We enter into section 36. The glorious attributes of pure consciousness. The same theme is further extended. Lord Shiva continued, O sage, he who attains the realization of this pure consciousness is not born into the world process again. That's the characteristic of self-realization. If you have not attained self-realization, you will be born again and again and again. I don't have more time for that. This self-effulgent consciousness that abides in all beings, by the knowledge of which the disease of the world process is destroyed, is called Rudra, or God, the destroyer. Rudra is the name of Shiva. But here Shiva is using the same name to describe Brahman, the Absolute. Remember, in Guru, Ru is the illuminer, and Guha is the cave of the heart. Same Ru term comes in Rudra. Ru implies self-effulgent, illuminer, therefore illuminer, absolute illumination. Dra, the type of illumination that activates the movement to its climax. Dra, the movement, Dama, Dana, Daya. Always remember these 3 points. Dama, controlling your mind and senses. Dana, charity. Daya, compassion. And this becomes a secret formula of controlling the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas, and going beyond. Because sattva's guna in you enhances your higher self by the mantra Dhamma, by controlling mind and senses. And rajas aspect of your personality becomes sublimated by charity, dana. And tamas aspect becomes sublimated. Tamas that brings about all cruelty, negativity. That tamas becomes sublimated into compassion. So, when these three das have become dynamically active, Dra, Rudra, that illumination that activates all the 3 aspected the. And when that happens, Bhava Chakra, the wheel of the world process, is completely smashed, effaced. And that is a real destruction caused by Rudra. O sage, this pure consciousness is the root cause behind the seeds of the world process, giving you Dada Parinyaya, reiteration of the fact that all your world experiences are projections of your mind, projections of the chitta. But projections require a screen, and it is a screen that becomes modified into all that you see in a cinema show. In the same way, it is a screen of Brahman that has become modified into all that you experience through your conditioned mind, using your brain and nervous system. So, pure consciousness, the root cause behind all that you experience in this world process. It is the essence of creation, the goal of all actions. This consciousness is the supreme cause behind all the causes of the world. All the causes of the world are in the show. You are watching the show, and your mind figures out what is the cause of this happening in the movie or that happening, what is the cause of the comedy which has become so successful, and tragedy and what led it to. While you are worrying about all this, the reality behind all this that you are worrying about is the screen that's perfectly untouched, unaffected, ever the same. And you are led to all those experiences due to projections. So try to think of it. Why at one time you are so excited to see a show, something is happening, bringing great excitement. And then suddenly, film is over. And you're just looking at the screen. Nothing excitable. And you don't figure out, it is the screen that you enjoy through the magic of projection. The Brahman, pure consciousness, that has been the reality behind the drama of what you have experienced in your life. Your life and all its experiences are like a cinema show, from the stage of bondage to the stage of release. All this is a big show. This consciousness, Chaitanya, becomes the paint, the painting and the painter. It manifests numerous worlds as a result of its paintings. It's another way of saying, just like you see a source of painting, your paint, and you see blank papers, you create painting, or as well as you create a literature, prose, poetry, and all that. But all that has come out of that ink. And the source of that ink is Brahman. Brahman is the mystic ink that God has created all your stories in the pages of your life. Spiritual movement is like a mystic termite. Terminates your files and all your literature, page by page, cutting them off. Countless worlds arise in consciousness like mirage in the desert. Again, people want to have a definite calculation about the worlds. But even in mathematics, you have come to recognize the role of infinity. Infinity being the source. You can have countless worlds arise out of it. And infinity is not in any way affected. It is ready to create countless more. It can continue infinity plus infinity, infinity, infinity minus infinity, infinity. And go on calculating further. Infinity is always the same. So is Brahman. And put it another way, you are always in a strange predicament of world within the world. Just like in your computer, you can create file within file and within file. And in your experience, you can have dream within dream. In one dream, you are eating cream. In another dream, you are saying cream. And there is no end to this. This reminds me of the dog in the barber's shop. The dog enters into the barber shop where there is parallel mirror. To put anything between two parallel mirrors and look into it. There is an endless series of reflections. So one dog goes there, sees one dog, sparks up, barks a little, but starts seeing that there are many dogs. It's a crowd of thousands of dogs. But in reality, he is the only dog. Countless worlds arise in consciousness, like mirages in the desert, and they will continue to arise in the future. Just as sparks and flames are nothing but fire, in the same way, the whole universe is nothing but pure consciousness. Though subtler than an atom, this consciousness has devoured even the great Meru mountains. We use the term subtler and atom as allegorical, as if you go on analyzing the world and reduce it to an atom, and then we go on going further analysis of the atom. But all that is your imagination in the physical world. Objects you can imagine in that manner. But what about your feeling? Your feelings don't grow like mountain. And you don't study your feeling in the terms of minute cells. When we study your feeling, now it's totally a different world. So you have three worlds, three types of lokas. The loka of your physical plane, the loka of your sentiments, the loka of your understanding. And allegorically, whatever you are experiencing in any loka, compared to the big loka, your all experiences are little. But all your little and big experiences, they arise because of pure consciousness, Chaitanya. It has engulfed mighty ages as though they were mere moments. time, space, causation, the more conditioned your mind, the more aware you are of passage of time, of space, and of causation. Everything has a cause, and cause has another cause. So endless extensions are there. But same you can experience in your dream. But when you wake up, all those extensions have been devoured, as it were, in one moment. While in dream, the dream time was real. Everything you were experiencing in terms of history. You are a history student in your dream. And you have packed up information about at least 1,000 years. But then suddenly, a mosquito buzzes over your door, and you wake up. All that has been devoured, your years of work, in one moment. That gives you the insight into how absolute consciousness absolutely devours, and doesn't have to devour, but allegorically, like the sun devours all the reflections when it sets. And when it wakes up, when sun rises, all the reflections come up. And each reflection has a big story to tell. And there's endless stories. But from sun stage, just a momentary deviation. And that also is not correct. There is no deviation, even for a moment. The sun remains ever the same. Though subtler than an atom, this consciousness has devoured even the great Meru mountains. It has engulfed mighty ages as though they were mere moments. Though encompassing this entire world, it continues to be far beyond the world. Though doing nothing, it is the sustainer of all activities. Though devoid of body, it holds the entire cosmos within itself. It is the reality behind the past, present, and future. The words expressed by a person suffering from lunacy are apparently meaningless for others. Yet, for that person, they hold meaning. People who are gripped by certain lunatic development, imbalance in their mind, they see creatures, ghosts, their perceptions become abnormal. But for them, what they perceive is normal for them, as long as the mind is under imbalanced state. In the same way, every soul experiences the world led by karma, and all experiences are a kind of a lunatic experience. And therefore, Lord Shiva holds that moon, Luna, in his matted locks, controls the lunatic aspect of the function of your mind. The mind comes under complete control when you are turning to pure consciousness. That is Lord Shiva. It is the glory of consciousness that lends meaning and value to things that are essenceless and empty. Section 37 the dance of the time spirit. It's more allegorical picture of the world of bondage and release. In other words, in this, what impacts on your mind most is time. You have a headache, you have a question. How long it will be? Time is behind. You face tragic situation. What presses upon your head? The idea, how long can it be? What gives you relief? When you make someone believe that you're going to pass away next month. This whole virus is going to pass away within the next few years. So time becomes so important. Under stress, time stretches up and doesn't seem to pass. But in happy condition, time begins to soar as if flying so quickly that you don't know. A bird comes this side and suddenly you look up, you've gone to another. The time flies. But all this magic created by time is nothing but the magic of pure consciousness. It is Chit Shakti that is the essence behind the seeds that grow from sprouts into trees with ramifying branches. It is this Shakti that manifests in the objects of taste, sight and smell, and in fact, in all the objects of sense perception. This all extended writings, and to sum up, turn your attention to what we have told again and again. First we deal with Brahman, the Absolute. That's the only reality. That Brahman has Prakriti as his magical power. The magical power doesn't mean that there is a duality in the Absolute. Magical power and magician is one and the same person. Magical power of the magician becomes more evident for those who are under magical influence. But those who are not under magical influence, magician is just one alone. In the same way, Brahman and Prakriti. Brahman is the magician. Prakriti is his magical power. That power is called Shakti. That Shakti expresses in three ways. Maya Shakti, Sattva predominating Prakriti. Through Maya Shakti, Brahman plays the role of Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the sustainer, Shiva, the destroyer. The role of guiding the souls from bondage to release. The same Brahman, through Rajas predominating Prakriti, expresses in the form of countless souls evolving through the world process, Jivas. And same Brahman expresses through Tamasi Prakriti as Panch Tattvas, all the five root elements that go to compose all that is needed for the soul for its evolution, the world of matter. So, Ishwar, Jiva and Jagat, all the three are nothing but Brahman, the Absolute. Ishwar, God. Jagat, the world process. Jivas, all the souls. Ishwar, Jiva and Jagat. This is another terminology we use for the same three. By adopting its own outgoing aspect, the Chit Shakti creates the world process. This is the Tamasi Prakriti. While by adopting its ingoing aspect, which results from the practice of listening, reflection, and meditation, it becomes the giver of liberation by negating the world process. Now, Chit Shakti plays two roles, broad way speaking, Bahiranga and Antaranga. If you are backed up by your ignorance, and ignorance is intensifying, then you are more and more inclined to the world of multiplicity. In other words, you will be more and more involved with your karma. More and more you are involved with three-aspected quest in your life: physical possessions, emotional satisfaction, intellectual gratification. All these you will be after. And that movement is called Bahiranga movement. Antaranga movement, as if you are waking up from your deep sleep, rather from your dream. If you extend yourself in dream, it is Bahiranga. Coming back to waking is Antaranga. You are coming back to your subjective nature. Who am I? Therefore, nothing is real. Same Prakriti, through avidya, creates Bahiranga movement. Through vidya, it creates Antaranga movement. And Antaranga movement leads you to the revelation, Aham Brahmasmi. It is Chit Shakti that has modified into great gods. Ishvara, I have already said, Brahman becomes Ishvara, but here is extension of Ishvara. It becomes Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, and all other divine deities. Just as a lamp illumines a room and is therefore the sustainer of various activities in that room by providing light. In the same way, all activity in this mysterious room of the world process is possible only with the aid of Chit Shakti, pure consciousness. And we will continue. Om. Om. Ram, 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 Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om. Prayer for the shower of Karunamaya Rasa grace over all of you, and the blessings of Shakti, Bhakti and Mukti. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarupuma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamrita. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.